Good evening and welcome everyone to English Without Borders weekly Thursday webinar series. We are delighted to have such a fantastic webinar today at 6 p.m. Tajikistan time, with the attendees joining us via both Facebook and Zoom. And today's webinar will focus on the topic building community and belonging through civil discourse in today's world. Our honored speaker, Afroza Akhter Tina, will share her insights on this topic. Before giving the floor to our honored speaker, I would like to introduce her to you. Afroza Akhter Tina is an English ESL teacher in Tashkent, Uzbekistan. She also holds the position of senior lecturer in the Department of English at Daffodil International University in Bangladesh. And Ms. Tina has presented over 85 papers globally and conducted a MOOC course for the US Embassy's English language programs. Her research interests include assessment, teaching with technology, teacher education, and social linguistics. So thank you, dear audience, for joining this amazing webinar. And now the floor is yours, Mrs. Afroza Akhter Tina. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Gulnora. Thank you very much for the kind introduction. First of all, I'd like to extend my gratitude towards English Without Borders for sharing this wonderful platform with me. I'm very much delighted to be amongst you, with you today. And I hope that we will be able to continue this journey in future as well. And I'm also equally excited to share my insights and a little experiences on this very interesting topic, which is on civil discourse. So let me share my screen. Okay, so is my screen visible, audience?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much. Now, as you can see, today's topic is building community and belonging through civil discourse in today's world. But before getting into the topic, I would like to share a little about myself, because although I'm teaching in Tashkent at this moment, but I'm from Bangladesh. Is there anyone who has joined from Bangladesh in today's webinar? Anyone? Can I see anyone in the chat box? Okay, I think, yes, from the participants, I can see one teacher probably who joined, Akbar from Bangladesh. Wonderful to see you. So this is the university where I work in my country. Now I am on leave, and that's why I'm working here in Tashkent as an ESL teacher. And this is the wonderful faculty members that we have in our university. We are 56 or 55 permanent faculty members in the Department of English at Daffodil International University in Bangladesh. And this is the wonderful campus where I work. It's a very big university. We have around 27,000 students. So you can assume actually that it's a very big university. And these photos are also very, very special because these photos have connection with the topic which I'll be sharing with you today, or will be getting your insights as well during this webinar. Now, if you look at the first photo, probably you see that there are a lot of different types of people in one photo, and that's right. Here you see actually 25 or 24 people from 22 countries. I repeat, 24 or 25 people from 22 countries. So actually that was an exchange program where I participated on behalf of the US Department of State last year. It was at University of Central Florida. Now there, the interesting ideas actually were floating. So many interesting ideas were floating in that exchange program. And I'm privileged that I had so many interesting ideas from that exchange program. And this particular topic, which I'll be sharing today with you, is also one idea, not totally new, but also some insights are new, which I got from University of Central Florida. Now, the name of the title of the exchange program was Navigating Intercultural Communication, as you can see at the top of the slide. And the right side photo also is a very, very special photo because I believe you can see a poster, very big poster in my hand. And this poster actually is not an ordinary poster because I made so many posters in my life. But this poster is something very, very special to my heart because this poster reflects all the things that I learned during that exchange. So the idea which I will be sharing with you today, actually, this poster also reflects that through some very important keywords. So I wish I would be able to show you this original poster in one of the future conferences or workshops or seminars, so that you also might feel that how ideas can help us uh, re-modify our teaching or reshape our teaching or can reunite us as teachers with our students in the classrooms and can help us actually rethink about all the current practices that we are into. So let's start the webinar, and at the beginning, I would like to share that here we will learn to focus on facts rather than emotions for civil disagreement, because I believe as teachers, we are more emotional than the others. I don't know, maybe than the other professions, because I feel that as a teacher, we actually tend to have that kind of feeling that we are actually not only the facilitators, not only the instructors in the classroom, we are also the guide, the mentor, and lots of other things to our students. So yes, we are too emotional. And this webinar, we would actually focus how to, differentiate the facts from emotions when we think of civil disagreement. And the second thing that we'll try to get from this webinar today is how this uh, community building, the practice of this community building and belonging through critical thinking and reasoning skills help us ensure effective engagement both inside and outside the classroom. Now, very quickly, I would like to request you to share your ideas about civil discourse, whatever comes in your mind. Could you please share very quickly through the chat box? What do you understand or what comes in your mind when you think of civil discourse? You can also express through one word, keyword, or anything that you'd like. Anyone? Oh, I can see my favorite Jamila ma'am from Tashkent. And yes, so many familiar people. Thank you so much for joining. So very quickly, may I request you to share one word that comes in your mind when you think of civil discourse or civil agreement, disagreement, whatever. What comes in your mind? Do you think of chats? Do you think of social media? Do you think of what? Discussion outside the classroom, maybe in the field? What comes in your mind? Could anyone please share in the chat box? Anyone? What comes in your mind when you think respect? Oh, wonderful. So Gunura has just started the discussion. She thinks of respect. Wonderful word. Support. That's great. Wonderful. Respect, support, responsibility. Wow. Responsibility. Discussion, heavyweight word. So look, public discussion. Oh, hi, Dila ma'am. Thank you so much for joining. Well, yes, look, so many heavyweight words come in our mind. So actually, as teachers, We are in the process. We have been in the process since the beginning. But sometimes we need to rethink, or maybe we need to revise our teaching, the processes, the ways, sometimes the methods, sometimes the environment, to bring something else when we think of civil discourse. And that's why we are here in this webinar today. Thank you, everyone, for the wonderful keywords. Now, we all know civil discourse, I guess, but still, if I have to summarize all your ideas, then can we say that a civil discourse is a conversation where we have mutual airing of views? So here, mutual airing of views is important. It's not that someone will say and we'll listen. No, it's actually mutual airing of views. So we, as individuals, have our own perspectives, our own ideas, our own kind of perceptions. So it's about sharing our views. And can you also say that it's not a contest, it's not a competition, rather, it's intended to promote mutual understanding. So you already shared these wonderful heavyweight keywords regarding civil discourse, that yes, it's a kind of mutual understanding between people, among groups, between groups, could be anything. And also we can say that civil discourse follows general rules of polite behavior. So in some way or the other, like Ms. Golnora shared, that respect. So when we have that kind of respect between people, between groups, or among people, among groups, then obviously we have, kind of this politeness. We develop this politeness to respect each other's views. So all your words are here when we think of civil discourse. Now, let's look at different examples of civil discourse. I know you all know more than me, but still, let us have a look at some of the examples through which we engage, like chats, discussions. Now, we have been, trying to engage with each other through chats here also in this webinar. So this is also a kind of this is an example of a civil discourse because we all are participating together. And then discussions. We will have a question answer session at the end, of course. Not only a question answer session, but also your views, your comments, your ideas, of course. And that's why we are here. And speeches sometimes, and letters. We know about emails, tweets, Twitter posts, Facebook posts, articles, and lots of other things, thousands of things which we can say that these are examples of civil discourse. Now, what is the main focus? The main focus could be on politics, could be on government, maybe sometimes, although these are crucial things, but sometimes could be social issues, very intriguing and very important, and then current events, which is very, very important, I believe. And when we think of current events, we actually don't think of matured students. No, current events. I mean, even simply a theater show, even simply a TV serial, who knows? A popular TV serial might be a very interesting topic of discussion and might be a very important topic, for exchanging perspectives and perceptions between or among cultures, and all other such topics which are considered to be in the public sphere could be examples of civil discourse. And we have different types of civil discourses, Now, we can't explain, we can't actually focus on all the types of civil discourse in one webinar, of course, and that's why if we have to narrow down the types, then I would like to focus on these 4 types. The first one, descriptive discourse, and then the narrative discourse, and the third one, expository discourse, and the argumentative discourse. Now, when we think of all these different types of discourse, I believe that thousands of ideas come into your mind. maybe, I don't know, some of you might feel that can we practice this civil discourse with our ninth grade students? Or maybe some teachers might feel that is it possible to discuss about government and politics with 11th grade students because they are teenagers and maybe they come up with something very shocking and surprising while discussing, issues like this? Well, these are questions, of course. Now, as teachers, we are the managers, we are the facilitators, we are the guides. So that's how we know how to manage, how to handle these intriguing topics. So that's a different story. Now, how the civil discourse impact your community? Well, of course, there are a lot of things which we can share, but one of the most important and intriguing aspect is that listening and understanding distinct perspectives, we actually come closer to each other. We actually try to understand each other's point of view. We actually try to listen patiently, with patience, to the other's views. And that's why I said that it's actually a kind of mutual airing of views. It's not that whatever I'm saying is perfect and whatever you are thinking is imperfect. Or I read more than you, so I am more knowledgeable than you. So whatever I say, you'll have to agree. No, it's not that kind of a thing. So it's a kind of, mutual discussion, mutual kind of agreement between people or among people so that we can practice something very productive and we can engage with each other. So these are the main things. Now, there we know that we can't actually ignore the importance of civil discourse in our today's society. When we look at our society, we know that there are thousands of topics, more than thousands of topics to discuss, to consult, to share with each other. So it's high time when we engage our students in the classroom as teachers, because these topics might interest students to come up with something new, which I believe might not be only on paper every time, because we know that students can change the world, and they have changed the world actually. So we rely on our students. So that's why uh, may I request you to mute your microphones if you're not speaking? Okay, thank you. Well, so that's why it's high time actually to bring their ideas, because who knows, uh, maybe it from their perspectives or whatever they share, we might think of something new, or we might actually change our perspectives even as adults in the society. So citizens gather, they listen to each other, they debate, they make up their minds, and then determine a course of action. So we can never forget that course of action is also a very, very important part of this civil discourse in today's society. Now, how does discourse affect our daily lives and the society? So this is also something I believe that as teachers we know, but still there are a lot of research on this. And if we shed light on those research, we see that a lot of researchers mention that these discourse allows individuals to express their ideas and thoughts effectively, understand and interpret the perspectives and opinions of others, and build relationships through effective communication. So this way, actually, we are building a community of practice, a healthy community of practice, a healthy community of belonging. So it means that it gives me that kind of ownership to be a part of such a society, such a community where I can speak, where I can share my ideas, where I can, suggest a course of action where I belong. So this sense of belonging is so important. Now, this civil discourse agreement, of course, they foster actually, it fosters and it enhances this kind of effective community building practice. Now, there are a lot of effective ways to engage in civil discourse. If you Google or if you go through recent research, you will find there are a lot of ways, effective ways, meaningful ways to engage in civil discourse, specifically when we think of our students as teachers, of course. Now, I have mentioned only 10 particular points so that we can narrow down our ideas and we can start thinking of more in relation to these 10. So the first idea which I shared is creating spaces for civil dialogues. Now, when we start discussing politics in the classroom or workspace or even public space, uh, we need to be very, very careful in terms of, pronouncing even words or even mentioning words. Even sometimes we focus on some particular letters. So we need to think of our, thoughtfulness. We need to consider and respect the others, the cultures whom I am encountering with. So this creating space for open dialogue is very, very important because we all view the world through the lens of our own identity. So whatever the other people say, whatever the other people think, at the beginning, we actually view the world through the lens of our identities. And that's so true. Now, the second point is about focusing on the issues. Now, as teachers or as um, adults in the society or as educated persons in the society, we all believe that there are so many issues which need to be talked about because we cannot say that, oh, we have everything in the society. So we are a complete society, we don't need anything, and that's the end of our society. So no one can say this. So this actually what this encourages us to focus on some issues which might need some a kind of attention, or maybe the issues which at present need to be addressed. Maybe this attention would actually emphasize on the course of action, who knows? And maybe these communities might also come up with some new actions for the benefits of the society to mitigate those challenges, those gaps which we have in the society, or even to make the society a better place. Now, encourage open dialogue. So this civil discourse, we can never forget that this encourages open dialogue, but that doesn't mean that we will speak negative words. We won't respect others' culture. We won't respect the other people's views because we are social beings. We are humans. So we live in a society. So when we live in a society, we cannot say that we all have the same kind of feelings. We all have the same kind of education. We are equally, educated. We are equally balanced human beings. Of course not. So this civil discourse community of practice, this encourages open dialogue, which is so important. And then setting safe boundaries. Now, when I think of setting safe boundaries, I believe that there are some political issues which make us feel a little anxious every now and then. So there could be some political issues. There could be some issues which needs to be addressed by us, by the common people, by the communities, maybe by the students, maybe by a specific ethnic community, who knows, any kind of communities. But that doesn't mean that we are against the political view, the existing political views. We are against the existing, government. We are against the existing politics. It's not like that. The thing is, we are discussing to make this world a more better, a more safer place for all of us, to make our community one of the best in the world. So there are actually always, we always look up. We always look up. We think of ways to, make our society, make us better human beings. So this is why each and every aspect of our existing practices should be discussed uh, within the communities, which is very, very important. And we also need to have that kind of safe boundaries. We should know when do we need to stop, when do we need to encourage the others, to suggest some course of action. So this setting boundary is so important. And I believe when we think of our students, it is more important because we know that students' imagination is what? They actually don't care. They actually roam here and there. So as teachers, when we think of our classroom, when we think of developing this community in the classroom, we need to be a little more careful. Now, power in proximity. Listening to life stories and struggles actually enhances, the power of this practice because we can never ignore that when we think of stories, success stories, when we think of even, failure stories, we actually uh, think. So this thinking is critical thinking. So it actually compels us to think critically what's going on in this society, what happened earlier in this society, what happened earlier in the world, and what do we need to do actually in the future, or what else can we add? What else can we add actually in our life, in our society? So this actually provides an opportunity for those doing work around causes to share information or highlight their work. And then getting involved at the local and state level. Now, joining with those who have similar interests and values to find creative ways is such an important way to be more active when we think of, building communities like this. Like we have running community, we have also speaking communities, we also have art debating communities. Look, we have so many different types of communities in today's society, and we believe that these small communities, they actually they share similar interests, and that's why they're together. So it's good actually to find some creative ways through their creations, if possible, to encourage this civil discourse agreement. And then taking care of your mental and emotional well-being. Now, as teachers, I believe that it's very, very important to take care of our mental and emotional well-being as well. Now, I cannot say that as teachers, we need to think of our mental well-being and emotional well-being, and then the other professionals don't need to do that. No, of course, it's not like that. But the thing is, as teachers, we deal with different cultures, different cultural backgrounds every day in the classroom. Although we say we have all students from Tashkent, even if I say that all my students actually were born in Tashkent, that doesn't mean they have the same culture. They don't have the same cultural backgrounds. They don't have that similar interest. They actually don't have the same financial position in their community, in their villages or in their cities. So people come from various backgrounds. So this actually is a challenge as teachers for us. And that's why this actually sometimes give us stress. We are stressed sometimes. So that's why as teachers also, we need to think of our mental well-being, emotional well-being, because we know that we need to create a safe boundary and we need to know our limits. So the limits, the boundaries, and to create that safe space and to ensure that safe space even in the classroom or outside the classroom, it's so important to manage own self first so that we can deal with complex issues the others complex issues even outside the classes. Because, there is depression, there is anxiety in everyone in today's world. And we cannot ignore this. We know there are thousands of reasons behind this, but we need to deal with this kind of depression, anxiety. So let's start with our own self. And then keeping communication open. So we all believe that we cannot just give a full stop at someone's point of view, after someone's speech or after someone's, discussion or whatever people says. We cannot say that, yes, we blindly agree with you. Now, whenever we listen to something, we actually do our own research. We read, we do our own research, we look at things, we try to assess, we try to evaluate the points, we try to do statistics, we do analysis. And that's how we, come in a conclusion that, yes, now I believe that you were right there, but there are a lot of ways through which we can go there. So this is how actually we intend to extend our conversations, and we tend to actually need this communication open. So being intentional about conversations and reassuring our colleagues in these types of conversations is very important, because this is how we show that we value you, we value your culture, we value your perspectives, we value your ideas, your opinions, and your thoughts. And finally, being aware of conflicts of interest for specific communities and members. Now, there are some limitations, of course, and we cannot ignore the limitations as well to what can be expressed in a professional versus personal space. Because when we think and act like a professional, we actually we actually are someone who actually thinks professionally. When we tend to be professional, of course, things change for us. But when we think personally, sometimes those things might not look the same, similar, might not look similar. So we need to think in both ways. I mean, how would I deal this issue both as professional and personal? So that is also important, and we need to have that kind of, the kind of space for both the spaces, of course. So as professional and as personal. So people sometimes, as I said in the earlier, in one of the earlier slides, I showed that as teachers, we are very, very emotional. But here, when we think of civil discourse, civil agreement, disagreement, or agreement, whatever we say, we actually need to focus on the facts. Because if emotion actually comes in every spheres, then sometimes we might be away from the facts, which is so important, because facts are facts and emotions actually are ours as individuals. So these two are two different things. Some community members are always expected to distinguish between what they speak, write, or act in their personal capacity and on behalf of their organization or community interest. So as professionals, we also see this, we also manage this. Now, that is the end of the discussion, but not actually the end of the discussion, the formal end of my slides. But I know that the discussion will go on. You might have a lot of questions, and or you might have your observations, you might have your own points of view to share, which I would like to hear on this intriguing topic. How do you actually manage this effective engagement when you think of civil discourse, both in your professional and personal lives? So thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for your kind patience, for your valuable time. And these are my contacts. So if you need to contact me, if you want to contact me personally, I'm available through all these ways. So thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, So I have a question actually, like here it is, how can technology and social media be used to facilitate constructive conversations?
Now, social media is something which we cannot ignore these days. We tend to believe whatever we see in social media instantly. And this actually is creating, I don't know about all societies, but I know that this sometimes creates problems in societies like ours. Now, what to do? So here, actually, as professionals, we need to know how to handle these professionally. Here comes the professional. Because if we can't actually balance this, if we don't read, if we don't do our research, like the way I said, it's not that whatever I see is true. Look, a few days ago, let me share an example with you. A few days ago, I saw that a restaurant is very, very popular for kozon kebab. I saw that. And before that, uh, I didn't try kozon kebab. In these long days, I have been here since 27 September, but till date, I haven't tried kozon kebab. So when I saw that that particular restaurant has the best kozon kebab, I actually didn't go to that restaurant immediately. I discussed this. I asked about that restaurant. I asked about the food over there with my local teachers, because they actually might have better ideas to suggest me where can I find the best kozon kebab. So not just, uh, you know, stepping on what we see immediately after having that kind of reaction or getting something from social media, because we know that there are a lot of vague and false things also which we every day encounter in social media. So that's how, as professionals, we need to act. We need our own power to do our own research, and that's how we can actually try to differentiate that which is false, which is fact, which is emotional, or which is true fact. And I think, as teachers, we also need to discuss this with our students every now and then, because they also tend to believe whatever they say in social media. Because I believe you all would agree that whenever you will ask a student in Tashkent, where would you like to go in future? Everyone will say, not everyone, but most of them will say, we would like to go to Korea. So look, even they don't know actually what will they do in Korea. Even if I ask them, what will you do when you will go to Korea? So they actually start thinking. They most of them don't find actually anything to share with me. What will I do actually whenever I go to Korea? So this is how we handle and manage. But thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for a very detailed explanation.
So any other question?
Yes, there is another question here. This is all from Facebook. Like, beyond language skills, what other aspects are crucial for fostering a sense of belonging through civil discourse in a classroom setting?
Wonderful idea. You don't need language, by the way. You don't need even language. Sign language works. Believe me, sign language works. Sign language means not professional sign language. I'm not talking about professional sign language, but you won't believe that sometimes I talk to my students uh, through sign. What kind of sign? Not the professional kind of sign. I just talk to them like, this suits, this color doesn't suit. So language is not important, the content is important. So if you can ensure that the students are reading, if we can ensure that we reading is crucial, researching is crucial. So reading and getting knowledge is very crucial. If we have that knowledge, whatever language there is, we would be able to express, we'd be able to share. And believe me, even without language, you would be able to create a very, very strong community of practice, where you will be able to practice all these critical issues every now and then, even with little language. Language barrier is a great thing. As a foreign teacher, I understand this. I have been to so many countries in my life. So I know language barrier is such a difficult thing, but now I feel after 12, 13 years of teaching, now I feel that it's not a barrier at all, actually, because as long as I go well with my students, as long as I can express, or as long as they share their ideas with, kind of signs, with expressions, that's okay, because this is how we try to build the relationship at the beginning. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And there is another question. Have you observed any long-term benefits for ESL learners who have participated in civil discourse programs or activities?
Yes, that's a very important question. Thank you for this question. I was expecting this question. After this US experience, where I have this wonderful idea of civil discourse, not idea actually, when we visited University of Central Florida, at Ginsberg Center, we saw that students actually are benefiting themselves, are engaging themselves wonderfully through civil discourse series. They actually have, series of civil discourse in that university. So that's how I got the idea. I actually returned to my home country, and then I, wanted to start that kind of series with my students in the university. And in a short scale, actually, I started this discussion, not in the classroom, outside the classroom. And then I felt that students have lot of ideas. Don't underestimate our students. Well, it's kind of we would be fooled if we think that our students can't think of some heavyweight topics. No, they have a lot of ideas. Maybe they don't have proper words, proper vocabularies, proper expressions to express, but believe me, they have thousands of ways to show you that yes, they understand this, and they have their own ideas, they have their own perceptions. My students also did the same. And at one stage I was afraid, because as it was, we were discussing on political issues, so they actually started to express some things through negative words. So when there, actually, we know that we have a boundary. As teacher, I need to create a safe boundary. That's what I should practice. I should encourage my students not to actually go beyond that boundary, so that our discussion could be an engaging and fruitful one. So that's how it worked. And I believe it's not only about university students. You can try tomorrow. Hope it will work. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And we have another question from Akbar, I think. And he's asking, is political discourse helpful in community building?
Yes, of course, and it depends, as I said. But before that, creating the safe boundary is important, because we are not against the society. We are part of the society, of course. But if we have issues to discuss, of course, we need to discuss. And I believe as teachers, students are the best ways to discuss, because that is the place where we actually can feel that kind of freedom, where we encourage them to come up with their ideas, and let's just think of a new course of action. Yes, of course, political discourse is so important, but make sure that everyone knows how to actually handle the discussion. Even if the students don't know, as teachers, we actually should manage the discussion, so that proper community building practice should be enhanced. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, and we have another here. What strategies can individuals employ to navigate difficult conversations with empathy and understanding?
Yes, like you answered actually in the question, empathy and understanding. You already answered that question. This is the strategy. We need to be actually the kind of individuals who show mutual respect, and that politeness, in terms of getting other people's views. And the empathy, which if we are failed to create that empathy within our community, the community will break. Even if it's not broken, I think people won't be interested, because if they feel that I am not that person in the community who can speak. No one listens to me. So there is no empathy for me. So this actually is important. On the other hand, we also need to know how much empathy can we show to the others when we, are engaged in conversations like this, because some topics are so crucial. Some topics are so sensitive. As individuals, as learned people, as teachers, we know that so many sensitive topics actually are there in the society. So be careful in terms of selecting topics, and we need to think of the level of the learners, of the students, or even the level of the society. Sometimes we also need to think of their age, so level, age, their language barriers, or their kind of word choices, vocabulary. So all these together, of course, are needed to be focused to ensure effective and meaningful communication. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes. So yeah. So let's see if any other questions do we have here.
Or any comments that you would like to make, or your practices. I don't know, maybe you also have been practicing this in your professional spaces. So would you like to share anyone, the way you are engaging your colleagues, or maybe your students, or maybe your seniors or juniors, whoever wants to share? But someday, I would love to show you my poster, because, as I said, that it's a wonderful poster with thousands of interesting ideas. So I believe that if you see my poster, you will be in love with my poster. And of course, you will also get so many interesting ideas to enhance and, foster your community building practices, of course. And that's why I try to keep my presentation short, so that we can have enough time for this discussion and conversation, because you might have better ideas than me. But the thing is, we need a platform to practice, and English Without Borders actually gave us the platform to discuss, to share our views, to have this kind of, mutual discussion, mutual understanding of perspective. So that's why I thank English Without Borders from my heart. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So yes, anyone, if you want to ask any other questions, you can unmute yourself, or you can use the chat box for your questions. Please, you're welcome. Use the chance.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we do hear you.
Okay, thank you. Hi. I am very happy to be a part of this activity. I am here to support Miss Afroza, and I am a big fan of Miss Afroza. Anyway, I just want to share something. By the way, I'm Amor de la Cruz. I'm an assistant professor from Acharya University in Karakul, Bukhara district, Uzbekistan. That's too far. Anyway, so I want to react regarding the first question that was stipulated by one of the participants a while ago. And she said about how can technology and social media be used to facilitate constructive conversations. All right, so in this particular question, what comes to my mind is what we call argumentative discussion. Argumentative discussion, because I'm a big fan of argumentation and debate. I'm a big fan of debate, which is a very good thing to engage our students inside a classroom. As we all know, our students are kind of bored sometimes, so we have to have a variety of activities in the classroom. And in this particular activity, this what is this? This argumentative discussion here, the students in the argumentative discussion will be able to prove whether or not what they see in social media is a fake news or a real news. So they have to defend that in that activity. Therefore, we make use of the social media to facilitate constructive conversations because in the process they develop their thinking, critical thinking skills, their argumentative skills, their communication skills, and their research and presentation skills. So we are not telling them to develop this or do this, but to facilitate constructive conversation without them knowing it, they are already doing it actually. So if we just give them the opportunity to engage in this kind of activity, all this technology and social media can be used to facilitate constructive conversations in the classroom. That's all I can say. Thank you so much for giving me a chance.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I'm also a big fan of yours. Thank you so much for sharing this perspective. Thank you so much. That's why, I shared that those four types where descriptive, narrative, argumentative, and expository types were there.
Yeah.
Because, yes, of course, as I said, before saying something, reading and having enough information is important. And for the sake of discussion, for the sake of debate, we can say a lot of things. But if we think of, a particular to build a strong community, when we think of, establishing civil discourse, so there actually we need to have proper content, proper knowledge before engaging ourselves, whether it's descriptive or narrative or argumentative or expository, whatever we say, whatever we share. So enough knowledge is so important. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, dear Afroza. And let's look at one more, the last maybe question here. So how can we encourage diversity of perspectives while maintaining respectful conversations?
That's why I said that we know that people come from different cultural backgrounds. It's difficult, to start a conversation with a high note and expecting that it will end also in a high note. It's not possible. Maybe it's a simple thing, but people have different perspectives, different views on that. So we need to actually respect each other's culture. And it's important as the coordinator to manage, to handle the discussion. When we think of building such kind of communities, we also have leaders of the communities. We also have facilitators of the communities. We also have managers of those communities. And it's not that someone forcefully becomes the facilitator, someone can forcefully become the manager. But of course, who has the knowledge can be the facilitator or manager or the organizer, of that, or the leader of that community. So that leader actually needs to understand this, that each one comes from different cultural backgrounds, so each one should be treated equally. And these kind of practices actually also need a lot of preparation. It's not that let's sit together tomorrow and let's build a community. No, it's not like that. The thing is, before establishing this kind of community practices, we need to rehearse, we need to practice, we need to get lessons, we need to learn, we need to know actually what are the norms, what are the rules, or what are the things that should be in our focus when we think of developing communities like this. So yes, it requires a lot of preparation, a lot of actions before getting into the real action. So that's how we can, mitigate the challenges or gaps. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Afroza. And our dedicated member, Abakti Begim, is asking, how do the conservative mentality and modern mentality finds each other?
Any other questions or comments?
Yeah, how do the conservative mentality and modern mentality find each other?
By fighting, maybe. Oh my God.
Okay. Yes, Miss Afroza, there is another question.
Any other questions or comments?
So there is another question from our very dedicated member, Bakhti Begim. So she's asking, how do the conservative mentality and modern mentality find each other?
Could you please repeat the question one more time? Maybe there
Yeah.
is a network issue. I couldn't listen to
I
the
think
question
so, yes.
properly.
So how do the conservative mentality and modern mentality find each other?
In where? Civil Discourse series? In the same
Yeah,
community?
I think so. Yes, I think so.
Yes. So yes, of course, conservative mentality. That's why I said it's not that we will announce with a microphone that we'll sit together tomorrow in that field. So please join, and then we'll develop a community. No, it's not like that. It's not like that. The thing is, I said just before this question that we need to have a lot of preparations for that, because yes, we have conservative people in the society, but these conservative minded people, they actually don't mean that they are not accepting the modern, kind of perspectives. It's not like that. But sometimes there are some things which we think that maybe these won't be welcomed by the conservative or by the old people in the society. Sometimes it's true, but most of the time it's not true. So look, at the beginning, we need to have this kind of preparation that who actually will be part of the community, whether we need to divide them into groups, whether we can actually bring them in the same group. Because if we can ensure that both conservative and modern mentality people could be here in the same group, and all of them could share their own views and perspectives, and all together, inshallah, we will ensure a better society in future. Of course, I think no clash will be there. But once again, it depends on the leader, on the manager, as I said, on the facilitator. So it requires a lot of preparation. It's not like that from today or from tomorrow we are developing a community. We are developing a kind of community practices. Yes, of course we can, but for that we need preparations. We need to educate people who will be in the community with so many things, with so many information, so that we all can respect each other's view. Because this civil discourse, this actually encourages respect. This encourages respect. This encourages mutual understanding. So there won't be any clash if we are, as managers, we are successful in terms of sharing all these information with the members in the community. So that's why I think it's so important. And look, here in today's webinar, we have a very beautiful old lady who is a very, very learned teacher and teacher trainer, Miss Jamila. And
Hello.
hi.
I have just came back from Tashkent and sitting, and I'm sorry for a bit. I was a bit late. So it was very interesting, Tina, because this topic is so crucial for us, but nobody touched it before you did. Thank you very much, and we are looking forward to seeing you on Saturday. Thank you very much. If you
Thank
look,
you.
we will have a lot of teachers from Tashkent region, and they are writing me. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you,
Thank you so much.
organizers, for this very fruitful webinar. Yes, we do hope that you will continue these actions, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much, yeah, Miss Afroza Akhter Tina, for your wonderful, amazing, informative webinar. And I hope, and for you, dear participants, thanks for joining, and thank you for your nice discussion, asking questions. That was wonderful. Thank you so much. Thanks for
Thank you.
joining. Thanks one more time, Miss Afroza Akhter Tina. Thank you, and looking forward for more webinars with you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, participants. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Gulnara.
Thank you,
Thank you very
everyone.
much.
Thank you.
Finished.
Very much.
Bye. See you.
Bye. See you.
All
Have a nice
right.
day.
Bye-bye. See you.
Bye.